All right. Today, I want to talk to you about just a terrible movie. It's called The Stuff. And if you've never seen The Stuff, let me explain the premise here. Let me explain the premise here in the cleanest way possible. America discovers a mysterious white substance bubbling up out of the ground. Everybody loves the way it tastes. It doesn't have any calories, and it slowly takes control of the people who eat it from the inside. That's the movie. And welcome to the Muy Macho. So now I know that sounds ridiculous because it is ridiculous, but The Stuff is one of those films. It shouldn't work, shouldn't hold together, and maybe it doesn't. And it shouldn't be watchable 40 years later. Yet I watched it last weekend. This is Larry Cohen, the filmmaker, firing on all cylinders. He had no money for this, but he was extremely confident for some reason. There was no interest in subtlety. There was no point to miss. You're supposed to just choke on it. So before we get deeper into this paranoia and the body horror and this crazy aggressive commentary on American consumption, I want to pause about halfway through and talk about something people often forget about this movie, and it's some of the people in the cast. So it's not a throwaway group of B movie nobodies. It's stacked with some recognizable actors who they bring a strange level of authority to something that on paper is about sentient dessert, which is ridiculous on his face. So the lead here, Michael Moriarty, he plays a guy named David Rutherford. He's an industrial saboteur, former FBI agent, and a full-time professional skeptic. So Moriarty, he was a frequent Larry Cohen collaborator. He worked with him elsewhere, but he was also in The Crazies and Pale Rider with Clint Eastwood. And I believe he was the first prosecutor in Law and Order going way back when, where he somehow brought this intelligence as he fought through this terrible script somehow. He doesn't play a traditional hero here. He's someone who treats this global catastrophe like a freelance consulting gig. He's taking payoffs left and right. He's talking fast. He smiles at the wrong times, and he behaves like a man who assumes he's the smartest person in the room, which fits this movie perfectly. I do want to mention Brooke Adams. You'll know her. I mean, you've seen her in Invasion of the Body Snatchers and The Dead Zone and many other movies. She's a little teeny tiny. I would say, watch the whole movie. I have no idea why she's in this, but it was pretty wild. So another surprise to me was Paul Sorvino, Paulie from Goodfellas. Okay, he plays this crazy Colonel Spears. He's a military presence brought in once it stops being a consumer issue with the stuff, this white goop that everybody eats, and he starts looking like a national hero. He's best known, as I said, Goodfellas, Romeo and Juliet. I mean, dozens of roles, but this is back in '85, and so it was just crazy. So also a couple of little spots in there for you old geezers. If you remember Clara Peller from the Wendy's commercials, who said, "Where's the beef?" She has a spot in here just to tell you when this is happening. And then finally, one of my old favorites, God rest his soul, the late great Abe Vigoda. He played Fish in the Barney Miller Show. He played Tessio in the Godfather movies, and he has a little spot in here, I think, in one of the commercials. And these are serious actors, very recognizable faces. I don't know how this guy got him to do it. This commitment in a movie about this inedible parasite, so it's unbelievable. I'm back to the movie itself. So because the stuff isn't just gross for the sake of being gross, it's about how easily people accept something when it's marketed well. The stuff doesn't attack cities. It doesn't invade violently. It gets plenty of shelf space, and once it's in the fridge, people defend it. They argue on its behalf. They deny evidence. They treat skepticism as though it's heresy. And this is what gives the movie its bite. Larry Cohen understood that the scariest part of the consumer culture, as it was called in the 80s, isn't greed, it's denial. People don't want to hear that the thing they love is bad for them, like many other things. There's a lot of correlations. They want reassurance, and they definitely want a sweet dessert. And by the final act, the whole movie it goes completely off the rails. Corporate militias, children refusing to eat, America fracturing over a product that nobody can stop consuming, and somehow it tracks somehow. Plenty of things in relation to today. That's the strange achievement of the stuff. It's ridiculous. It's blunt and pretty sloppy. And it's also but kind of honest in a way if you lived through that time. It's a cult movie and it earns its status. And it's not because it has a whole lot of polish. It's because it's a very subtle thing happening. It knows exactly what it's saying, and it does so with no apology. So I'm not a expert on Larry Cohen, but you're gonna love if you love satire with teeth. If you enjoy movies that feel very strange and almost dangerous, this one would be worth a watch. You could find it right on. I think it was on Amazon there. Now, if you enjoyed this review, please hit like and subscribe, and tell me something in the comments. Go watch this train wreck and see if you could look away. All right, and think about the last product you bought that turned out to be complete nonsense. All right, the internet is filled with it. All right, so Muy Macho here. We're watching movies that shouldn't work, and then we explain when they do. So, The Stuff, 1985. Look it up and see if you could take it. And that's going to do it for the Muy Macho here today. We will see you down the road there. Adios. Later. Bye.